friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here today because I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I love this tag. It's so much fun. I totally forgot about it though. So I've been seeing all my friends here on booktube do it, and I'm like, I need to do it. So here I am doing it. Starting off with the first question, what is your favorite book so far this year? And that is such a tough one to just narrow it down because I've read over 100 books this year, and I've read some really awesome, amazing books. So yeah, I'm going to talk about a couple here, starting off with Echo by Thomas Helvut. I loved this. This is a cosmic horror book, but there's some survivor horror in it, and it's about a guy who survives an avalanche, but he comes out with some cosmic horror damage. I'm just gonna say that to keep it pretty vague. And I really liked the way this was written because it is written in a Lovecraftian style through like the letters and emails and stuff, and it is also like a relationship. Yeah, like how you would handle, I guess, a loved one going through a traumatic instance and you having to kind of stick around for that even though you didn't really sign off on it. Yeah, I really liked where this went. It was really funny and scary, and the dread never stopped building in this until the very end. It was fantastic, and I can't wait to read more from this author. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Revival. I loved this book. This was a reread, but speaking of cosmic horror, of course, it's a very sentimental book for me now, because it's very emotional, and it kind of asks those huge questions in life, like how far are you willing to go to find out the big answer to the big question, right? Again, I'm just trying to be as big as possible with this one. Just know it's really good. If you like somebody, like the direction this goes is somebody talking directly to you, like telling you their life story in a way, and yeah, it's done so well, and it's so sad, but so good. And yeah, one of my favorite Stephen King books at the moment. And yeah, it was just fantastic reading that one this year. Sundial, that is the next one that I'm going to talk about. I know this one has a lot of mixed reviews, but I've loved it so much. By Catriona Ward. I know I said it right now. So this is kind of like a thriller book. I want to say it starts off as a thriller, goes into some horror, more along the lines of evil child horror, and then it switches. It has some genre bending in it into some sci-fi themes that are always asking the big questions. I feel like I'm saying this a lot, and yeah, there's some heavy subject matter in this, so definitely look up trigger warnings. There's some intense stuff that happens at the beginning, and then it kind of never lets up with that, going into some animal cruelty in this one, but it doesn't feel excessive, and it doesn't feel like it's done out of nowhere. It all comes together in the end, and I absolutely loved it. I stayed up until like 2 or 3 in the morning reading this. I read this one in practically one sitting, and yeah, I highly suggest it, if only to add to your shelf because of this amazing cover as well. It's a gorgeous book. And on the lines of going back to some cosmic horror, The Worm and His Kings by Hailey Piper is a little novella that I read recently, and I absolutely loved it. This is about a woman looking for her girlfriend who she believes was abducted by a cult in the sewers of New York in the 90s, and it is so freaking good. I loved it. I loved the cult route it took in this. I wasn't expecting it, and it was just a pleasant surprise, and it gets very weird, and I loved it, and yeah, I highly suggest. And then of course I have to talk about some Michael McDowell. I'll probably be talking about Michael McDowell this whole video, but The Amulet is my most recent read from him, and I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. It's a total bloodbath, and yeah, if you like super unique kills and some great small town commentary, Southern Gothic, horror bloodbath, yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. And also I loved the friendship in this. But yeah, those are just some of my favorite reads. I'm trying to go through very quickly, so I'm not like talking forever, right? And it feels like I've already been talking forever. What is the next question, Katrina? Best sequel you've read so far this year. So I don't read a ton of sequels anymore because I'm not a huge fantasy reader anymore, but I will have to say Mallory by Josh Malloran. This is the sequel to Bird Box, and I absolutely loved this so much. I feel like I liked this a little more than Bird Box itself because Mallory is a bad bitch, okay? She just came into her own in this sequel, and I absolutely loved it. She doesn't take no shit. She really doesn't, and I love that about her character and where this went, and like dealing with like her trauma and stuff as well, and being a mother. If you like badass mom books, this is the one because she is a fierce mama bear, and yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And yeah, I read it very quickly, and highly suggest if you are into just a great horror. This is also cosmic horror, so that's probably why I like it as well. But I feel like the horror it's not like up top, the cosmic horror in the Bird Box books. It's more of just like, I don't know, it's to the side, I guess. And it's really about just great characters. It's very character driven. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. The next question is new release you haven't read but want to, and I'm gonna have to go with Silvia Moreno Garcia's The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. I've been seeing this one make the rounds, and I'm excited about it. I love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing, and I love how she can jump from genre to genre and knock out like a fantastic book. And I always really like her characters. I always find them really interesting, even if it is in a genre that I don't really care for, like Velvet was the Night. I still really liked those two characters in that one, and yeah, I'm just excited for it because it sounds really interesting, because I am a big fan of not only The Island of Dr. Moreau, okay, like that is a great book, but the very cheesy 90s movie. And I'm laughing because it's awful, it's horrible, but there's a great documentary. I will put it on the screen here. I can't think of the name, but it is hilarious and fantastic. I think it's on Tubi. I'll have to double check, but yeah, it's so good. It's so good. My most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm gonna have to go with Ghost Eaters. And this is by I forget the name. It's Clay McLeod Chapman, and yeah, I just don't know what this is about, but I read Whisper Down the Lane, and I'm very excited to read his other book, The Remaking, and yeah, I'm very excited for Ghost Eaters. I just like the cover of it, honestly, and yeah, I'm hoping it takes place in Virginia. I know his other books take place in Virginia, so yeah, I live in Virginia if you guys don't know, so I'm pretty biased about books that take place here. Biggest disappointment this year so far, and honestly it's not a new release, it's something recently and then something from earlier this year, but I Know What You Did Last Summer by Lewis Duncan. I recently DNF'd this because it is so boring. It is insanely boring, and I thought I would love it because the movie is amazingly cheesy, and I loved it, and I thought this would be cheesy. It is, but it's just like really boring. I was like, it's tiny too, I couldn't make it through it. I think I read 90 pages and I was like, I can't do it. And nobody was dying either, so I was like, okay, maybe it's not a slasher, I don't know. But anyways, moving on to my other biggest disappointment was Womb. I would say I'm kind of well versed in extreme horror, so I was excited to read this one. I've been seeing people kind of new to extreme horror read this one, And I read this one with some friends for 28 and 28 back in February, and we all hated it. Like, we were like, this is awful. And I personally hated it because if you're gonna write a book and you're gonna try to be a little scientific about it, you should at least do some research. You know, Google exists, okay? And that's just what bugged me so much. And then I go to Barnes & Noble and I see this on an end cap and I am like, seriously? Seriously? Why? Anyways, 1 star for me. And yeah, that was just a big disappointment to me. I do see a lot of people really like it. Okay, if that's your thing. And then biggest surprise. So I have 2 biggest surprises, starting off with Maggots Screaming by Max Booth III. I recently read this month, and it is so bizarre and so out there and weird, but hilarious, and I just loved it so much. 5 stars. This feels like a very sentimental book to me because there's a lot of Simpsons talk in it. But I would say it definitely lines up with like more bizarro kind of style horror, but I absolutely loved it. And Cold Heart Canyon by Clive Barker. Wow, wow, wow. This was a huge surprise to me. This is a big one. It took me a minute to get through it, but where this goes is so insane and scary, and yeah, if you like classic Hollywood like horror stories, this is the one. This is gonna stick with me for a while. I'm still in Cold Heart Canyon mentally. I don't know if I'll ever leave. Newest fictional crush. So I actually don't really get crushes on fictional characters, but I will say Chris from We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix is just like the coolest person I've ever read. Yeah, just her overall rock and roll attitude is awesome to me, and I really enjoyed reading this character, and yeah, highly suggest We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, and I suggest the audiobook as well because it was done very, very well. So best fictional character, and I will have to say, of course, Michael McDowell, a Michael McDowell book. This character from Gilded Needles, Black Lena Shank, blank, is a terrifying character. She is absolutely terrifying. She's kind of like, I want to say like a Victorian mobster, in this kind of like, yeah, she's very sketchy, but do not cross her. Do not cross her. Yeah, don't mess with her. That's all I'm gonna say. Do not mess with Black Lena Shank, and for that, she's very memorable and one of the best characters I've read this year. There's been so many though, honestly, like there's been some really great characters. Beauregard from Blacktop Wasteland. I just read a slasher with a really fun character, Long Night at Lake Never. The main character for this little novella, Tyler, is hilarious. And yeah, I've read so many great characters. It is really hard to just pick one, but Black Lena Shank, whew, I'm scared of her. That's why I still think of her. Book that made you cry, and honestly I can't think of one, except for maybe I teared up a little bit reading Feed by Mira Grant. I'm trying to think. I can't remember. I have no memory. Probably I teared up during Mallory or Revival or something. If a chainsaw just starts, that is construction workers. I don't know why they have chainsaws all of a sudden. Anyways, a book that made you happy, honestly, like all of the ones I've just talked about have made me insanely happy. I read some really unique stuff this year, and yeah, I'm just so happy with everything that I've read, honestly. Most of everything I read, probably. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received, and I'm gonna have to say, I think this cover of Amulet and the cover of Sundial is just stunning. Yeah, this is just the color is beautiful. Also, this book is like solid blue. It's blue, and then on the inside it's like hot pink. It's great. But yeah, these are great. But I'm starting to get into some of the vintage paperbacks and stuff, so be on the lookout for some of those. I'm very excited about. And what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And that's a lot of books, of course, but honestly, I don't have a plan. I have some stuff picked out for Summerween next month, and that is as far as I'm thinking. I don't like to plan too far in the future for that stuff, but yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Have you read any of these books? Are you intrigued to read any of these books? And you guys have a great day. Bye!